Hello, welcome to Slogan of Logan. You're watching this on Renegade Slogan Media. How are you all doing? Quick update. I've had yet again another hiatus. This wasn't intentional. Let's just say there has been a lot of factors that made me take a hiatus. And I'll start going through the list. Firstly, the YouTube algorithm used for demonetizing extremist content or controversial content hit my channel hard. So many of my videos are ad restricted. Videos that shouldn't even be tag restricted. I had videos that are restricted that don't have any controversial words or phrases. There's no cursing, there's no mention of the religion that shall not be named. I mean, there's legitimately nothing that could be considered controversial in some of my videos that have been restricted. And one of my videos that talks about transgenders isn't restricted. However, when I talk about taxes, it is 100% restricted. So when I saw that, my drive to make videos and content went down because it seems as if YouTube is failing before our eyes. It was really a damper on my morale. And another reason, I went to my county fair and I was preparing to go to my state fair with my girlfriend, spend some time with her. I've also been doing a lot of overtime, so I had to take a break and go to the fair, both my county and state fair. And also my state was in the direct path of the solar eclipse, so I went and saw that. And there was a forest fire in my region, and there still is a forest fire in my region as we speak, and my town was filled with smoke. So basically there was a lot on my mind, a lot on my plate. I needed vacation, but it was a bad time to do some vacation. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Lastly, my computer had some issues. I wasn't able to turn it on. I'd click the power button and nothing would happen. So obviously, you open it, you try to diagnose it, then debug it. I open it, check all the wires and all the connections. Everything is fine. I tried to tighten the connections and make sure nothing is loose. Still nothing. I unplugged my power supply and did the paperclip test. It worked. The fan started spinning. I checked the wire for the power button, so I assumed it was my motherboard because everything was fine. But I didn't want to drop $150 right away. So I took my chances and bought my same power supply. I plugged it in and it worked. So my guess is that there's a bad pin somewhere on the connector on my power supply, the main power cord, because the green wire, the on wire, when you connect it to the ground wire, when connecting all the grounds using a paperclip, it turns on. So I'm not entirely sure what it was. I think it was the power supply, but I'll wait and see if I have any more issues. Researchers have found two efficient ways to convert CO2 into energy-rich byproducts. They reported last week here at a meeting of the American Chemical Society, the ACS. If they gain traction, they could help solve another pressing problem. Because both approaches require a steady stream of electrons from a source of electricity, they could siphon up all the lost solar and wind energy that can't currently be stored in electric grids. To recycle CO2, some researchers are mimicking photosynthesis, harnessing sunlight to convert the molecule into carbohydrates. But these solar fuel reactors often need to run at 1,000 degrees Celsius temperatures. Other chemists favor a more traditional approach that would carry out similar reactions but near room temperature. Is splitting CO2, a tough, stable molecule, into oxygen and carbon monoxide, a slightly more energy-rich molecule that can form the basis for hydrocarbon fuels like methanol. That process starts with two catalyst-covered electrodes dunked in a beaker of water into which CO2 has been dissolved. The stream of electrons between these electrodes carry out separate reactions that split water and CO2, ultimately generating CO2 and more water. Now, I'm not one of those tree huggers that wants the government to spend billions and trillions of dollars to stop or delay global climate change, based on the idea that mankind is impacting and furthering global climate change on a massive level. It's important to note that the science is not settled. Anyone who says it is being dishonest. First of all, we've only been studying the climate for the last 150 years. Not to mention the Paris Accord. the one that Trump pulled out that pissed off all the left-wingers within a 10-mile radius. Basically, that report said, or that document said, that we were going to spend trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars over the next over so many years, basically to only get half a degree difference in temperature. So to me, that's just fucking nuts. According to the Swiss National Science Foundation, researchers from the Physical Meteorological Observatory Davos, PMOD, the Swiss Federal Institute of Aquatic Science and Technology, EAWAG, at Zurich, and the University of Bern are not qualifying this assumption. Their elaborate model calculations are supplying a robust estimate of the contribution that the sun is expected to make temperature change in the next 100 years. For the first time, a significant effect is apparent. Now, if you read skepticalscience.com, they try to play it all off, saying that the sun and global climate change don't correlate, and that the sun's activity is too minute to affect the Earth's climate on a massive level. But at the same time, skeptical science will tell you that human carbon output is big enough to cause a radical change, but the sun isn't. Listen, I'll concede that it is possible that the sun alone is not entirely responsible for climate change. I'll also concede and say that, yeah, maybe humans have an effect on climate, but let's be clear, the sun is an important factor. The climate is pretty complex and clearly has lots of drivers, and this applies to the opinion that everything is in the sun too. The sun influences the Earth's atmosphere, not only directly by the output, but also indirectly by its magnetic field and its impact on the cosmic rays via solar wind electricity and other things. Also, it's important to know that ice in the North Poles and South Poles have fluctuated and have actually risen in the 2000s. Now I'm done talking about climate change. I'm not a climatologist, but neither are half of the alarmists in the comment sections calling right-wingers anti-science or climate science deniers. As I just displayed, this isn't true. The science shows this is a complex topic, and special interests on either side do not help the science become clear or honest. But while I take issue with global warming alarmists, I support newer types of energies. I support expanding our understanding about energy conservation, renewable energy sources, and how to use fossil fuels more efficiently, meaning more bang per gallon of gasoline or more bang per pound of coal. If an individual owns a house and wants to disconnect from their local power district using solar and wind, I'm absolutely for it. I will always support the field of science bringing more innovation. The more we know, the better. The more energy sources we have, the better. In the state of Oregon, the education budget was increased by $400 million. This $400 million budget increase isn't to be outdone by the 2013 $6.55 billion spending package approved for K-12 education, hiking it up from the 2011 Legislative Assembly approved for funding of $5.7 billion. Even after all that, today in 2017, with Oregon lawmakers reluctantly passing an $8.2 billion budget, Oregon still cuts staff. According to the lawmakers' promises back in January, the budget passed for this year was supposed to preserve current school programs and staffing. Oregon's largest school district, Portland Public Schools, despite receiving $29 million from the school fund, will lose 55 teachers in the fall of 2018. This is due to rising salary, pensions, expenses, and retirement costs surging by $18 million. The Salem-Keizer School District, the state's second largest, saw an increase in budget by $31 million. Despite this increase, 67 teacher positions got cut due to pensions skyrocketing by $10 million. Cutting 67 teacher positions saved the school district $6.8 million. This is a common trend around the state of Oregon. The information I just read comes from an article I wrote that got published at beinglibertarian.com. All sources are hyperlinked whenever I make a claim in the article. I suggest that you read it. Link will be in the description box below, so please check it out and support being libertarian. But this article is to highlight the ineffectiveness of government spending, especially when the government doesn't use the funds it is given right. This also showcases the ineffectiveness of administration. There's so much wrong with the education system in this country on both the federal and state level. I support switching to a voucher system where the money is given to the student and whatever school they go to gets that money. Under the school choice system, parents may choose which school their child goes to. Parents, family, and kids will have a choice. That's what this is about, choice. I'm amazed at the amount of people that want to deny parents and kids having a choice about what school their kids go to, especially when the schools these kids are stuck in suck. It amazes me, and I don't understand. The Great Solar Eclipse of 2017 was met with a variety of responses by schools across the country. Some announced they would close for the day for fear that the children under their care would accidentally look at the sun and encounter eye damage. Others remained open out of fear that children would not be safe at home by themselves during the great event. Either way, educators of all types saw the eclipse as a great learning opportunity, and many encouraged families to go out and view it together if the children were not in school. One family from Kentucky did just that and got in trouble with the local school district for their action. The family, identified only by the first name of the mother Hope for privacy, taught their two children at home and decided to take some school time to watch the eclipse. This action was allegedly reported by an unknown source to the local school district, which in turn sent an official to question the family about their field trip. According to the Homeschool Legal Defense Association, the following exchange ensued. In the nearly hour-long home visit, the assistant director told Hope that the trip that her family took to observe the solar eclipse couldn't be counted as school time. The school official also belittled her ability to educate her children, stating that even as a professional educator, he wasn't qualified to teach his own children at home. So, it seems like this is just a personal vendetta that this teacher has. He hates the homeschool system. He probably just wants a job. He doesn't want kids to be taken away from him, lose funding, or he's just a zealot that thinks that the government should control everybody's education. I don't know. Maybe he's not all of those things. Maybe I'm just being a presumptuous, craphead. Who knows? Through it all, Hope doggedly stuck to what she knew was right, that homeschooling was best for her children, and that she was in compliance with Kentucky law. The visit ended with the school official demanding samples of schoolwork for both her children, along with attendance and scholarship records. He warned that if he did not receive these records within 2 days, further action would be taken. Now, as a classical liberal, freedom-loving individual, this really grinds my gears. You homeschool your kids to get away from what you perceive as a failing education system, only to be met by an individual that works within the education system who is so triggered by the idea of a parent-teacher taking the opportunity to show her student a solar eclipse that is a rare phenomenon in American regions that is directly related to astronomy and physics, celestial bodies, gravity, orbital paths, and math. This is science. This is pure science. You learn about a concept, and then you see the concept with your own eyes, or you experience it. It's like when you tell your kid not to touch the hot stove because it will burn their hands, but they don't get it, so they touch the stove and burn themselves. Now they know not to touch hot stuff. They now understand the concept of hot. It's the best way to learn. Someone explains a concept, and you see this concept in practice, whether you're doing it yourself, observing it, or partaking in any other way you could experience a concept in practice. That is all for today, guys. Thank you for watching Slogan of Logan on Renegade Slogan Media. Go ahead, check out my other videos. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Thanks for watching my video. If you liked what you saw, please check out our Facebook page. Link will be in the description box below. And do not forget to subscribe.
They'll seep through the air, don't care though, wear those G's, please, Jerry.